everybody. You're here again with me, Steffi from The Makers. I hope everybody is well. I think we've got quite a few people who are waiting to watch, so I hope you can hear and see me. If you do, maybe you can give me the heads up just so that I can rest assured that I'm not talking to myself. That's yeah, I do that all the time, talking to myself, but right now for the next hour I don't want to do that. So do let me know if you're here. Diane is here. Hi Steffi, looking forward to today's broadcast. Brilliant. And Jane, hi Steffi, so looking forward to your tutorials. I've even put them in my diary so I don't miss them. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Jane. Hope you both are well, and I know there are a few other people there. There's Donna here. Hi Donna. Ross is letting me know I'm audible and visible. That's great. Hi Lynn. Hi Diane, I know. Oh yes, thank you for letting me know you can hear and see me. And oh, and Chandra is here today. This is, you've only missed one of these, right? Am I correct in saying that? So that's really nice to have you all here on board. And I'm gonna be talking today about how to make a basic shape to turn it into angels, fairies, or into any kind of figure. I will show you in a minute how to start as well, just watching who else is turning up. Hi Diane, that's a different Diane. Hi Alex, nice to see you here too. And I've got my cup of tea all at the ready. It smells very delicious today. I keep getting really nice smells because I've got one of those flavored black tea bags. I think it's chocolate mint, so this is a special treat for me today. So what's Donna saying? Yes, Jane, all the tutorials are in my diary and I plan my day around them. Not that I'm addicted. Oh, that's so nice. It really is nice. It's such a grey day here today. I don't know what the weather's like. I can actually look out of the window here and it looks like it's I don't know, it's just definitely colder and it looks grayer and it looks like rain, basically, just to yeah, can't beat around the bush. I think it's raining. And I don't know what the weather's like with you guys, but it kind of puts a different, I don't know, kind of mood certainly into me. I don't know about you, but as soon as the sun disappears and it looks a little bit more subdued out there, my mood also goes down into a more subdued kind of, yeah, kind of way. But I have got something exciting to share, and I've just got to do a bit of gymnastics. Just bear with me, because I am, oh, I've got to show you this. I'm wearing rainbows on my feet today. How cool is that? These are my new sketches. They arrived yesterday and I'm wearing them. So I'm okay. If the rainbow isn't in the sky, at least I've got it on my feet. And as I look down, feeling subdued, I'll get a really nice, happy feeling that there are rainbows on my feet. So that's really great. So anyway, I thought I should share that. So Chandra is saying she's only missed one so far, which was Monday. Oh, you will miss tomorrow. Oh, that's a shame, because tomorrow I'm going to open up the makers boxes and show you what's inside and what the new projects are, and even giving you some hints and tips and some real hands-on tutorial and on technique of how to get some of these more tricky bits done. Oh, Chandra, did you see my shoes then? Raining here too in Redditch. Yeah, I have big feet, Diane. I really do. I'm a big-footed lady. Always have had big feet. All my children have big feet. We're just standing firmly on the ground, rooted, can't fall over very easily. Even at a push, we've got big feet to stand on. Oh, and Diane, you only missed Monday too. Yeah, of course, Chandra. You can always catch up, as many people will be catching up. And if you are catching up later on, then you will also know that at some point those comments disappear, and it's just what I'm saying and what I'm doing here. But I try and repeat every comment so that it's not entirely random when I answer any of the questions. So great shoes, Lynn says. I like them. I think they're very special. Yeah, I love the memory foam as well. Love them absolutely. Oh, Diane, you're also size 7, so you know what I'm talking about. Big feet. Wet here in Somerset too. I think, yeah, it's all around a bit of a wet um, day. Alex, you missed a couple, but you've caught up with them later. Love your conversation. Oh, gosh. Yeah, well, you must really, very few people who love my conversations. I always get told at home to shut up. Mom, shut up. But then I have got 3 teenagers in the house, so yeah. Okay, so let's start. I don't know if any of you saw my pre-warning of this live stream on Facebook, but it is, I call it the lollipop moustache, or the moustache lollipop probably technique, because it is like a moustache, right? And like a lollipop. There you go. That's why it's called a moustache lollipop technique. And it's in my book. Where's my book? Oh, there it is. Pull that one out. This is where it was first featured. And if you have got the book, you know that you can make lots and lots of figures and angels and sprites and all kinds of things in there. And it starts literally at the beginning. The book is split into different seasons. So you've got spring, summer, autumn and winter, but the first section of the book is all about making different type of little figures. So whether they are the ones that stand on 2 feet like that, or whether they are like an angel, big angel there standing on a round platform, or whether it is a hanging fairy or angel, like this one here, like we've just started doing in our fairy subscription box. So I will be going through some of these, but you don't always have to make cute and pretty little things. You can also make very practical things, like, for example, I've got Joseph here and Mary. Oh, don't hold them by the head, that looks a bit cruel there. Joseph is standing on his size 7 feet, and he can actually stand up because the stick that he's holding becomes kind of like his third leg, so it levels him out. And he's made in exactly that lollipop or moustache lollipop technique. And then there's Mary with a solid base, and she can stand up quite comfortably. You can also make little fruit children. Last year we did the pumpkin girl. This is a little apple girl. We've got a strawberry girl. You can make a toadstool person. And of course you can also make little gnomes. So you have arms that are posable, little legs that you can bend, so you can put them into a position, sit them down, and all of these are made with exactly the same base inside, with that lollipop moustache, or I never know which way around, but you get the gist. I think I call it moustache lollipop because it starts out with a moustache and then it turns into a moustache lollipop. So I will show you how to start with this, and I think it worked quite well putting the materials onto a card, so I'm going to do that as well. And we have got an instruction sheet that everything that I'm covering now you can actually purchase from us as a downloadable PDF if you haven't got my book. It's the basic instructions for making angels, fairies and figures. And of course, if you're subscribing to our fairy box, then you will get this in your first box as a little booklet to refer to, because every shape of fairy or figure that is appearing in our fairy box is based on that exact principle. So I start off by using a pipe cleaner. Now we use our extra strong pipe cleaners. They're not like, they're definitely stronger because I can hold it like this and it doesn't sort of flop, than the craft pipe cleaner that you might buy elsewhere. These are actually meant to clean pipes at a push, I don't know, I've never seen anybody recently smoking a pipe, so I don't even know if you can buy pipe cleaners in now what are they called, these shops where you can buy tobacconists, I suppose. Yeah, anyway, there you go. The answer always comes to me finally. So we're using these. Now the disadvantage of that is that you're restricted to size, and I think that is probably the disadvantage of all of these. However, I do have a really big character in this book. I haven't brought him downstairs now from all the samples upstairs. But there is a big character in the book, and he is also made in the same way, and that is Father Christmas, of course. And he stands actually, he stands that tall, so he is quite a lot bigger than, say, for example, Joseph. He's about almost twice the size, and the same principle has been used with this as well. So you can scale it up, and it tells you exactly how to do that in here. But for now, today, I'm just going to do the smaller variety of these figures. So first of all, you need for this, ideally, some of the merino tops. We have one here that's like a flesh pink, and that works quite well for the cover of the face. You will notice that none of these little figures have got needle felted faces, and I will explain all of that in detail as well, but I will also show you how to make a needle felted face, though you wouldn't be using these wool tops, you'd be using wool bats, so I will make a version of that as well. They're all kind of faceless, but if it bothers you, then there is another way of doing it, but otherwise they're quite cute without a face as well. And there's the new pansy fairy that I made yesterday. She's got curly hair, so she's going to go into all the materials to make her will be in the fairy box as of tomorrow, and then you can make to decorate her lots of these tiny little I nearly said daffodils, but they're not. They're actually tiny little pansies. I love them so much. It's so much fun to make them. It's such a I'll tell you tomorrow the secret how to make them. But all I will say is they're not needle felted. It's very exciting. So we start off by using this wool top, and you need sort of a short length, I'd say about maybe a hand long, and wool's getting up my nose. That's quite generous. That's actually a little bit too much. I'm just going to take a little bit off. That's the first thing that you're going to attach to your pipe cleaner. And to do this, you bend the top in, hook your wool top in there, and then shut it tight so that it's really secure. And this is where the moustache comes in. There. Okay, so you can really remember it. First the moustache, get dressed up first, and then you allowed to lick your lollipop. So this is now on my pipe cleaner. I'm just going to check up what people are commenting on here. Hi Emma. Emma, my loyal companion, she'll probably point you to websites when I refer to anything, no doubt. Is it raining in Warrington, Emma? Yes. I think you're probably all laughing at me licking a woolly lollipop with a moustache on the top. Hi all, sorry I'm late. That's Janet. Work got in the way of crafting. How dare it? Nowadays it's all crafting or no work, surely. So yes, well, it's nice you're all here. So, and then the next thing you're doing is you take a wool bat. Now, as you all know, I love the Lanolin Rich, so I'm using this one. You only need a very small amount for that too. And the sort of numbers we're talking about, I think you need about 4 or 5 grams of this wool top, and then about the same in grams of the wool bat. And you're going to wrap this around the base of the moustache until you end up with a small ball. And if you're using the Lanolin Rich wool, it kind of sticks to itself, so you don't even need to felt it down too much. So it looks a little bit like that at the moment, a bit square at the bottom. Even add a little bit more. Just another, comes off so nicely, this wool. I just totally love it. Add another layer, nice and flat, so you're wrapping this around, and that looks a little bit more like the size of a head. So now you have got your moustache lollipop. Okay, that's the base. And you can, if you want, needle felt this down a little bit just to shape the base of that head a little bit. If you're using the Lanolin Rich, there is so little needle felting. You don't even need a needle felting mat to do these figures most of the time, especially the basic shape and the hanging fairies. There's very, very little needle felting involved. So then what you're going to do is you're making sure that this top bit where the pipe cleaner is there is nicely tucked away. So you give it a bit of a pull. I'm pulling the bottom in, because you've hooked and secured that pink top on the top. You shouldn't be able to pull the pipe cleaner apart. And then you're stroking the wool down, so you're pulling the pink down on one side, and then you're doing the same on the other side. So you're basically covering that ball shape that you have made with the core wool up. Now you don't need to worry that it's neat all around. So if you've got a bit of a gap showing, that's fine. All you need to worry about is that you have got at least a quarter of the part nice and neat and smooth, because that can then be the face. And then all you need to do is you need some extra strong thread, which I've got here. And all of this to make the fairies you will get in your fairy box. So that's just worth mentioning. And then you can just smooth this down again and wrap this around the base. Keep it nice and tight. I just usually go around a couple of times. So then you can pull and smooth the wool down, and then just put a knot on it and keep those two ends and cut them off, basically. There. Okay. So now what I've got is, I've literally got the head on a stick, and I've got these wispy fibers that I'm going to secure in a minute when I add arms. When you've got this, everything's still possible. Now you are able to make a mermaid still. You are able to make a little figure like that. You're able to make a standing fairy, and you're able to make that sort of shape with legs, something stuck there. And of course you can make a hanging fairy too. I must stop holding them by their heads, that seems a bit cruel. So all of that is still possible with this right now. However, if you want to make a fairy that, or a little figure that's like this apple, or a hanging fairy, where you don't actually have a lower body visible, or it's not so long, you don't have to have legs, or you don't have to have a base made from the pipe cleaner, or you don't have to have even the legs showing, then you can use that same pipe cleaner to make the arms. And all you're going to do is you're sort of cutting just over halfway of the whole length of the pipe cleaner. These are 30cm pipe cleaners. So cut about 20cm length with your wire cutters, not your scissors. I'm really naughty doing this. And because you're making, let's say, a hanging fairy, you don't have to have any wire at the base here. But what you do need, you need another half of the wire, just over a half, to make the arms. And I will show you that next. So is this working on the large screen, or should I go a little bit smaller? I've got a very messy earth mat. I haven't needle felted it. Sorry, I haven't cleaned it. It's got really lovely colors on there, but it's probably not so nice looking at it on the screen. So if I need to go a little bit smaller, well, it's raining in Peterborough, it's raining in Warrington. Hi Jana, is it raining? Well, we already know it's raining in Somerset. So, oh, it's sunny in Scotland. Who else have we got? Yeah, yeah, there's quite a few people watching actually, so that's quite nice. Anyway, so here is our length of pipe cleaner that we're now turning into arms. And first of all, we want to give it dainty little fingers, especially if you're making a dainty little figure. You want the hands to be nice and small. Same here. So we're giving it delicate little features. And to do this, you need a little bit of this pink wool that I've just used to make the face with, And this is where you need to work quite delicately. And I will just go a little bit more close up. Excuse the slightly, I might just turn this round so you don't have to look at this terrible mat. Let's turn it round. There, that looks a bit neater. That's the base mat on of the felting mat. So I'm not going to use this for felting, but we really don't need to do much felting. So I've got my strand of wool here, and now I'm going to wrap this around the pipe cleaner. I'm letting the wispy ends of that wool catch into the pipe cleaner. And all I'm doing is I'm just covering a very, very short length here, because where I'm covering now is where I'm going to bend my pipe cleaner in, and I'm holding the tension, and all I want at the moment is just a neat bend, and I think that has worked quite well. Sorry, the camera is not zooming in as nicely as I'm imagined it, but there you go. It's got a nice, the bend is covered, and I've got the wool that I've wrapped it with still here, and that's quite good, because now I can go over the bent wire, over the bent pipe cleaner, make it nice and tight, and cover that parallel pipe cleaner up. You noticed I've switched hands, because now I'm twisting the pipe cleaner. I've got my wool here in my left hand, and I'm twisting the pipe cleaner to wrap around the wool by itself. You might do this the other way around, have the wool coming from your right hand. For some reason I'm doing this left-handed. So now what I've done is I've made a very neat arm and a very neat hand here that's not showing any white at all. It's just showing that pink. And then I'm going to repeat that on the other side, because I need a hand on each side. So another opportunity for you to see it. I'm letting the wool grip into the pipe cleaner, so I can add a really neat thin layer, really tight, flat like a ribbon. I'm wrapping this wool onto the pipe cleaner, and then I bend it in. So I've got the end is covered with the pink wool, and then I'm going over the whole thing again, keeping the wool really, really tight, so I don't get any bubbles, bubbles, whatever, unneat bits here at all. And then I switch around and I twist my hand end of the pipe cleaner around the wool tops. So I have got two very neat hands there now. They're about the same size as well, which is great. And there's a little wispy bit. I'm just going to cut that off there. So you can either now have your arms covered as you've got them like this, or you can color in the end of your arms with, say, another color, and so then you end up with a body shape that has got colored arms. And to do this, you literally just take another bit of wool. I've got some of the berries space dyed merino left here, and for this we are actually using tops, because they create a really fine, neat wrap. I'm not needle felting any of this at the moment, and I just literally cover the arms up now, so that only the hands are sticking out towards the middle, and letting the wispy ends of the wool sink and disappear into the wrap, so that I don't need to needle felt any of this. I really don't. So this is all just using wool and letting the wool stick to itself and working. It really pays off to work very, very neat and be quite sort of, yeah, have nimble fingers, and it might take a little bit of practice to get it super neat. But less is always more. It's always easier to have a thinner layer and then add more. And what I'm doing is, at the moment, I'm actually not covering the center bit, because I need to fasten these arms onto my figure. So I'm leaving the center bit uncovered at the moment. This might be slightly different from what I've written in the Making Simple Needle Felts book, because there are so many ways of doing things. You'll find out maybe a way that works even better for you. And now I'm going to come back to my figure. I part these ends of the wool out of the way, and I'm going to wrap the arms around the base pipe cleaner just once. So they're literally gone round once, kind of guess that they're in the that they're about the right length, and then I'm going to push them up. So I don't need to wrap them around into the right position already. I can actually push them up. And then now it's quite important to remember where the nice part of the head is, and I'm going to call this the nice part, so that's going to be the front. And now I'm using the end of these wispy face wool tops to secure around the shape of the leftover body here, and that will firmly put the arms where they're meant to be, and it also gets rid of these wispy ends of the pipe cleaner end. So once you've got this, you have now got a perfect beginning of a little figure. You're still quite flexible whether you are going to turn this into a hanging fairy or into a standing person, because when you do a standing person, you're going to have to attach, similar to the arms, you're going to attach that here at the base again, so just leaving a bit of the body, then attaching it to it, so you've got your legs coming off there. So, but this would be really easy to turn into that still. You can see, you might even have a little bit too much of a pipe cleaner, and you just start adding the wool around the base. You can turn it into a hanging fairy because the pipe cleaner ends somewhere there. So that's a really easy way to do that. To make a standing fairy, you wouldn't have cut the pipe cleaner off, so I will show you that as well. But let's just make 2 legs, because that's kind of the next good example to do here. So I've got a piece of half of a pipe cleaner here, and you can decide what color feet or shoes your fairy will have. I'm going to stick with pretty and delicate, so I'm going to give her little pink feet and legs. And for that, I'm doing exactly what I've just done with the hands, but this time it's going to be the feet. And I cover also, as I've done before, an area with the pink wool, and then wrap the top over the bent-in pipe cleaner, so it makes it one continuous piece again, rather than 2 side by side. And the only thing with making feet is that you bend them into place a little bit more, unless you do a ballerina and she's on her tippy toes. So get rid of that, and then you would just bend the foot in at a slight angle to make a delicate little foot. And if you're making something like a boot, then you obviously add far more wool over the top to build the bulk up. And when you get when you have quite a large wrapper there, you might have to needle felt this down a little bit. Same with the gnome, looking under his cloak. And so he's obviously got a red trousers on, and then he's got some little grey boots. So it's a slightly different way of building up the layers. But for the dainty little fairies or little sprites who are showing their feet and their legs, just keep it really, really delicate and really minimalistic, if you like. So just cover the end of the pipe cleaner so you've got enough there to bend it in, and then go over that bend with the rest of the wool top that you've still got there to cover up the pipe cleaner entirely, but also to not show that the pipe cleaner is now running for very short distance parallel, and get rid of the wool along the pipe cleaner. Now you might want to make, I'm bending these legs in as well, you might want to make, I've got a pair of legs there now, as you can tell. You might want to make the legs a little bit fatter, then just go over it with another layer of wool, and then you just fastening this onto the base of the fairy or the figure that you're making, by twisting it around her body. Now these legs they are okay to be wobbly, because you can add another layer, because you're building up the body probably, depending on what you're making. But I'm making this up as I'm going along, by the way, but let's just say you want to add a little bit of pink wool butts on there now, then you can go around the legs to fasten them in a little bit better. There we go. And you can just add bulk onto the fairy that way, if indeed you're making one with legs. And then obviously you just build the layers up and you felt it down as you go along. So I've made I've fastened the legs in a little bit better by going around with a wool bat, and I'm dressing this little fairy slowly but surely with wool that I can shape into the body as well. So this is a figure that I've never made before. I'm just making it up right now, but you can see that the more you add to it, of course I haven't got that wool now. Well, we can use different pink for the top, maybe. It's going to be a very funny looking fairy. And once you bend the arms in, they also then appear slightly less long. If they are too long, you can still put like a little bend into it, because there is that's just a little trick. If you've made the arms too long, then just bend them in a little bit, because if you're covering this up, nobody's going to see what's underneath it and whether you've got a bend in your arms there. So can you see I've just literally put a little bend in there? Nobody's going to see it because you're going to cover it up with actually I'm just going to find some of that pink wool, because I think it would be nice to have it all, the body all the same, and then we can dress her. But I might not have it. So oh gosh, there's so much wool here. It's just not the one that I'm looking for. Anyway, I'm just going to change color now. I'm going to make her red. There. So I'm adding more wool to her. I'm building up the bulk. Oh, she's going to be such a cutie. So you build up the bulk, you felt it down, build up the bulk, felt it down, and that's the way that you would do something if you were to make like a little apple or little strawberry, or like we did with the pumpkin girl, and you can make up all kinds of different little characters. So this is what I'm doing here now. I'm making, I don't know what I'm making, like a little creature. So exciting to make these. And you just felt it down as you go along, add more wool to it, and felt it into place where you feel it needs to go. And that way you can make a little figure all together. Let's see what... Oh, hi Faith. Oh, sorry that... yeah, I'm sorry you're late. I mean, not... it doesn't really matter, because obviously you have... I'm going through all of this again in a minute, because I want to show you how to make a mermaid. And I want to show you how to make other figures as well. I'm just sort of working on her at the moment, or him. I'm no idea what it is. And just showing you the principles of how you make the basic shape. And this one has got legs. So all I'm doing now is I'm felting this down. When you felt this down, you have to be mindful of the wire that's inside the wool. So be careful not to stab into it, as it can easily break. Well, first your needle might bend and then it might break. So just stay clear of the wire if you can. Don't felt too harshly. So that's it. And there you go. So we've got a little figure here. Who knows what it is and what it wants to be? No idea. But you can dress her up with wool tops again if you want. You could have like a little skirt coming off here. Remember, I'm making this up as I'm going along, so I'm just literally creating this little creature out of the blue, and I'm actually using the underneath of the felting mat as well. I've just realized, of the earth mat. It does work if you want to use it. It's just not as easy to stab a needle into as it would be on the right side, but the other side is a little bit... I need to clean it. Well, I don't need to clean it. I don't mind it's dirty. It just doesn't look very nice in the camera. It's not that dirty. Stop waffling. So I've just put a little skirt on her. I can work my way around it by using this lovely berries space dyed wool top. And so the point is not to make a particular figure. I'm just showing you the scope you have got to make a little sprite with a little skirt. And obviously you can felt. I'm going to give her a little tie around the waist in a minute as well, so she looks a bit more shapely. And just adding that last bit of skirt onto it. And I'm entirely making this up. This is has not been planned, but I just love it when you're able to do that, and I hope that you have time and the opportunity at home to do that too, because it's just so nice to sometimes not plan anything and just let it all evolve as you're going along. Just love that. So she's a little girl with a frilly skirt. It's like, almost like a little ballerina skirt there. And I'm going to give her now a tie around the waist. I'll just have to find something that might look quite nice. I will get there. What about this? Is that too yellow? Could use that. These are the Leicester curls that we use quite a lot. So I'm just going to tie that around her waist to sort of distinguish from the upper body to the lower body and make it a little bit more shapely. So there you go. A little person emerged in no time at all. And you can shape her a little bit more by making the top a bit more felted down, and remembering that there the head is here, the nice part of the face. Yes, there is a bit open, but it doesn't really matter, because as soon as you put hair on her, and the hair can vary from curls to straight hair to plaited hair, anything that takes your fancy. You can give her rainbow hair, you can give her grey hair, any color you like, or just go really, really quirky. So I've got a few curls here. You could put these on her. You can try it on, see if you like the look of it. You could give her rainbow hair. You know, just see what it looks like when you put it. Normally what I do is I needle felt the sides in around to frame the face first, and then you get a really good idea of how to do this. If you want to give your little fairy or creature or whatever you're doing plaited hair, you can do that too. I'm just trying to find some. See, I'm so disorganized, terrible. Anyway, there's some Mangslauten here that works probably quite well. Let's give her normal colored hair. I'm just taking a little bit off because I've got quite a lot there. And what I want is, I want her to have hair like this with the plaits running on either side. And the way that I do this is I split one end into three, and I'm going to start plaiting, which if you're not sort of used to plaiting, it might be quite tricky, because you do this without somebody pulling from the other end. But if you've got an extra hand, an extra pair of hands, then let them pull it. You probably could pin it to your felting mat as well, but I'm just plaiting this now into a little sort of piggy tail that will hang down one side. If you want to make just one on the back, then obviously you just plait it from one side. And you could, the ends, you could just needle felt them down for now so that they don't open up. That's all I'm doing now, just needle felting the ends down. You couldn't put a little band around it later, but that's just to secure it. And then I'm going to do the same at the other end. That's how I make piggy tails. Oh, there is just so much. This is once you get into making fairies, I promise you, you get so enthralled by all the different possibilities that you can that you have and that you can make, and what you can maybe you can copy people that you know, people in your life. Maybe you want to make a special mobile. When my who was it? I can't remember. One of my girls, when I was pregnant and I had a baby shower, everybody brought a little fairy. Oh, I think it was my third child, my second daughter. And I remember I had this lovely mobile of people making all kinds of fairies, and there were also some needle felted fairies on there. That was such a lovely idea. And she is a bit of a fairy. She has that sort of real desire to have pretty things in her life. I'll felt this down a little bit as well. Yeah. And so now I've got almost like a little wig that I can put on her. I'm not so worried that it's not very shapely, but it doesn't really matter, because I'm going to felt this now into place and spread it out a bit more, and I can even give her a middle parting so it doesn't need to look so coiffed, is that a word? Unstyled. So I'm going to felt it down first of all, framing her little face, and then I can even give it a middle parting by just stabbing the needle into the center of it and spreading the hair out. If for whatever reason there's not enough to go over her head, just add a bit more. So I'm just felting it down now as I'm going along, stabbing all over but keeping my parting more in one line, and stabbing the rest down. If it sticks out a bit, just stab it down, and that fastens it on, and at the same time you're styling her hair as well. So that's just one way of making hair, and there you go. She's got a pretty little hairstyle now. You can put tiny little pieces of wool around the ends of her pigtails if you want. There, you can leave them hanging. It all depends what you want to do. I'm just going to tie this around there, and then I'm going to trim off the ends of her pigtails so that they're more straight, but you don't need to do that. You can leave them wispy if you prefer that, and you can tie a little bow on top of that. There's just, or you can even put a little ribbon into the hair. There's just so much detail that you can do. Sorry, that's too fiddly for me now, so I'm just going to cut this short as well. There. So that's your little person that's been created very fast. She's got the little legs showing, and you can pose her so she can sit down, or she can if you tie a little strand of yarn in the top of her head, she could be a dancing fairy dangling, and that's just one way of doing a little figure really quickly. So basically, arms, upper body, and dangly legs, or posable legs I should say, because they're not kind of dangling, they're just there. Can you see them there? So that's just one way of making a fairy very quickly, or a little child, little person, whatever you want to call it, using this basic fairy technique. So what I want to show you next is, because if it does bother you not having faces, there is a way of giving them faces, and the way to do that is you start off with your pipe cleaner again. I was really, really cold earlier, and now I'm really hot. So I might have to take a layer off. Let's just see who is here today. Which color mix is it, Jan, that you like? Yeah, it'd be good to know. I'm not entirely, is it the, which color mix is it? Is it the red and the pink clashing, or do you mean the parrot wool top? Yeah, mermaids, hooray! I'll show you how to shape those in a minute as well. There's no end to it. Hi Janet, I've been trying to catch up on your videos as I'm new to the group. Number 4, the hearts, does not play back. Are you able to sort this, please? Many thanks. I have no idea why it does this, and we have tried to sort this and we don't know. So I think we might have to get in touch with YouTube to find out what the heck's going on. But yes, that is definitely one of the things on our to-do list. So bear with us on that one. If it all fails, I'll just make another one. Good reason to work with rainbows and hearts. Oh yes, sorry, Emma, you've already replied to that. I'm not quite sure how to solve this at the moment. Hopefully we can come up with a solution. Yes, we do have written instructions of how to make the hearts on our website as well. My fairies always end up with crazy girl hair. Yeah, that's it. Mine do as well. Many thanks. I have some lovely rainbow wool in my surprise box I want to try. Excellent. Yeah, you can definitely try that on all kinds of projects. So let's show you how to make a fairy with a face. Now, if you imagine this wool here that has got, is really fine. It's not felted down. It's literally just pulled over the head. As soon as you start stabbing into it, if you want to make a really old face, then that's perfect. You can stab into it and give it features. But with a fine merino wool, because it's not even felted down, it just creates a layer. it looks almost like a bit pockmarked or a bit wrinkly, a little bit weird, and suddenly you can turn a little young person into one that looks really quite, yeah, scary maybe, and even old. So the best way to avoid this, if you do want to make faces, is by using a wool bat to start with. So instead of making the moustache out of the wool top, you're actually using the wool bat. And again, you trap this as before with your pipe cleaner, nice and solidly, and then twist the end of the pipe cleaner around. So you really have got this trapped. So this is quite a fluffy moustache. No wonder my nose keeps itching. Yeah, or it could be a bow tie, or I don't know, a ribbon in your hair. Anyway, it's a moustache. And then you use, as before, the wool bats. These are the Lanolin Rich bats. And you wrap a layer of wool underneath it to build up into a ball shape, which in effect is going to be the head. So I'm keeping that nice and flat and tight at the same time, so the wool almost sticks to itself. And that seems to be the way to do it. So I'm not going to wrap terribly much around there, because these wool bats are already quite at quite a lot of bulk. But I will be doing exactly what I did earlier, where I get some of the extra strong thread. And we still haven't listed this on our website, but we will, promise you. Just have to work out how to sell it. And again, you probably have the white pipe cleaner visible there, and it will stay visible, but you don't want it to stick out. So just pull your pipe cleaner from the bottom a bit, and then you smooth over the wool bats. It's not half as neat at the moment as it is with the wool tops, but here now you have the opportunity to felt into it with your felting needle. So if at this point you're not happy with the size of the head, you can always unfold this and add a little bit more wool onto the shape underneath it. Nothing's happened yet that you can't undo. And like I said before, you don't even have to felt this down, because the especially if you're using a wool like the lanolin, can't even say it now. Where's Kelly? She's really good at saying lanolin. Lanolin, I can't say it anymore. Oh my goodness, I've been infected. Anyway, that kind of wool with lots of sheep fat in it still. It is very clean. You don't worry. It's not gonna. You don't have to worry things jump out at you. So you don't need to felt it down, because it will kind of stick to itself. You can, however, felt it down if you want to. Especially if you're felting over the top, it might be a good idea to do that. But I haven't done this now. So now I've got the base, holding it tight using the extra strong thread, and I'm going round it as tightly as I can a couple of times. That also pulls the wool down a little bit more, and then I put a knot on it, as I've done before. There. And that's it. And then I can snip the ends off and forget about it. So I've now got my head here that looks less neat than it did with the wool tops, but now I can actually needle felt into it. And I have done this in my book here as well, because I know that some people find it quite disturbing that there are no faces on some of these creatures. And if you look at the father, I've actually done this a slightly different way. I've already started felting a face underneath before I pulled the pink wool over the top, but you can do it all at the very end. But if you look at the Father Christmas here, he also has got that kind of wool over his face, and then you start adding features and needle felt onto him until his face is there. And this, he has actually had a little bit of wool felted underneath to make that nose, so when you put the wool top over the top, it's just there. So if you're needle felting a face, let's go up, go a little bit closer up again. The main thing is that you have you imagine the eyes being quite far apart, and that the eyes and the mouth is in a triangle. That kind of gives it a cute look. So just to start, let's just give it a little indentation. So that is where one eye would be. And then this is where the other eye would be. And then the mouth would be here. If the further apart the eyes are, the cuter it will look. If they're really close together, it just gives it a different look. So there you are. It's got at the moment it has got 2 eyes and a mouth. And then you the less you do, the less, when I say the less, I mean the more delicate you add things into it, the better. So I've got a little bit of white here, tiny amount of white, which I'm going to put in there first. This may go hideously wrong, by the way, because I don't normally needle felt faces. But I'm just putting a little bit of white in there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of blue on the top for a pupil. Or is it an iris? Anyway, whatever it is, it's going on there next. This is quite a bright blue, so again, I might just mix it with a little bit of white because it is such a strong blue. It's like almost pops out at you. Whilst eyes are quite a stunning color, they're not normally so bright that they look so distinct. They're more, yeah, I don't know, they're just not normally such a bright color that would pop out. So I'm making a lighter blue mix. I've also got a lighter blue in my box, but anyway. So I'm just adding that into the equation now. I've got quite a fine needle that I'm using here, probably a little bit too fine. So she's got a light blue, is it a pupil or an iris? Can't think now. There. I'm keeping it really delicate. And then what you could do is you could add a little bit of brown, and again just go really, really delicate with this around the eye to make a almost like an eyeliner. Make that at the bottom. Normally when I do eyes, I do one side so far, and then I do the other side so far. So I switch around always from each stage so that they are pretty much the same, rather than having to try and remember what I did before. So I'm putting a little bit of brown over the top now. There. And I might add a little bit more in there as well. So I've made a little eye there. Can you see, even though I've worked with such delicate colors, it can actually become very easily a really scary feature. And what you could also do is to keep it really, really simple. You could just literally put a little bit of, maybe even a little bit of brown just for an eye, rather than making a very distinct eye. Just put a little bit of color in there just so that there is something there that looks like an eye. And that might be just what it needs. Less is always more, rather than making a proper eye there. So that's entirely up to you. Probably best to do both on the same side, and then just add a little bit of pink for the mouth. Again, you can't, if you want to make like a proper face, then you can go for it and put as much color in there as you like. But if you're just trying to make a delicate little face so that it's not just nothing there, then keep it really delicate. And so there's a little, so you can see if I cover this, if I cover this eye up, it would just be a really almost like a small child face. And then if you want to make a more distinct eye, then you can do that too. I'm really liking just a really basic little eye, so I'm going to pull this one out and stick with little rather than more. But you get the gist what you could be doing. So I'm just literally putting that in there. There we are. And you can shape the face all around, stab it with a needle. If you wanted to have a nose, like a tiny nose there, then it's best to put that under the pink wool before you pull it over the top. so there is a natural shaping taking place. But it's not impossible to add a nose afterwards if you want to just take a tiny bit of the pink, roll it into a tiny ball, and then add it to her face like that. And I think this is where you find things can easily go wrong. What I would do is I would actually add a little bit of wool over the top again to cover up the join, so it doesn't look like you've just added a little nose. But yeah, you can do that, and then just go over it with a little bit of wool to sort of make it all blend into the rest of the face. There. I actually really love using blusher, proper blusher on creatures, because on little faces, because you can just put a bit of dusting on there, tiny bit. It's best to blow on it so to get the excess off. And there you are. So you can make a little face, quite a cute little face if you want to, but I definitely wouldn't do this on the merino tops. I would do it on the merino bats, the New Zealand merino bats, which is what I'm using here. And yeah, add more to the eyes if you wish, but I think less is definitely more for any of this, just to give it a little face. So what I want to show you now is, if you were to make a mermaid, we're actually going to use this end bit here. First of all, I'll show you, you put a loop into it, and if you were to make a standing fairy, then this is going to be the base for your stand. So if you're making, say, Mary, she has got this loop inside there, and you just dress around it. This is also how you start making a mermaid, and you secure these this wire end, and then you're shaping this into a fin there, like that. So that's at the end of your mermaid. If you want this to be longer, then just extend this. This is quite easy to do. So if you want to make the end a little bit longer, just use an extra wire end and just wrap it around it. So you're just extending the end for however much you want it to be. So say your mermaid sits like that, and then have the loop coming round here like this. So you can extend the wire if you want to, or you can not even have wire pipe cleaner. You could do it just with wire. I'm going to go back up just to make this a little bit more sturdy, because it's now a lot larger than what I imagined. And of course I need to add some arms on there as well. But then you shape this one into the fin, and you're gonna wrap that up later with wool. So you've got your mermaid there with the fin, and that's very similar to what I've done here, but a lot smaller. So this one is a little bit bigger. So to get arms going on there, again, use your pipe cleaner, use your wire cutters, just over half, cut it, about 20 centimeters, I'd say, for the arms. And then you can use the pink wool tops. There. I've got so much to tell you about other things as well. So I think we're probably you've seen all of this before, so I'm going a little bit bigger again. So somebody says here, okay, I need to start reading from the top. You've all moved on while I've been gibbering and jabbering away. Hi Diane, another Diane. I think there's 3 Dianes now watching. Hello from Nellisford, Virginia, USA. Ooh, got somebody from across the pond. I just found this channel the other day, so fun. I love needle felting. Great, welcome. It's really nice to have you. There's Helen. Hi, I nearly missed you. Well, we're glad you didn't miss us. And who else have we got? Oh, Faith, you like that flesh color. Is this the flesh top or the flesh bats? I mean, I'm sure you like both of them, but just wondering which one you're talking about. And so, Faith, you're saying that you can't say lanolin, either one of those funny... Oh, well, I've just said it. I didn't even think about it, lanolin. I normally never have a problem saying it, but for some reason I decided that it would be too difficult to say, but I never have a problem. Hi, Pamela. Good morning from Oregon. What time is it now? It must be like quite early morning still, actually. So yes, it's always the dilemma. What time should we be doing this live stream? But I'm always feeling reassured that it stays on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it anytime and catch up on it as well. So I'm just doing another set of hands. I'm just going a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry, I've got a carnage of little figures that have fallen over. Let's just stand them up. There we go. And you as well. There, tidy up a bit. I'm such a messy crafter. Oh, there's a mermaid hanging out as well. There you go. So I'm working on this one at the moment. For this one, we've made a face, for those who've not tuned in until now. Normally, I don't make faces. I just use the merino wool tops to go over the top, and because they're not felted in the face, it's really hard to felt onto it and not make it look wrinkly or pockmarked or anything like this. But if you start out with the wool bats over the head, then you can felt into it. The face doesn't look as neat, but it does look quite cute when you put eyes and a mouth on there. So I'm just doing hands now with the flesh pink wool tops here, and I'm doing the other side as well. There we go. Wrapping the beginning of the pipe cleaner, then bending in so that the bend is definitely covered with pink, then going over it again, keeping the wool nice and flat. When I get to this point, I switch around and I twist the pipe cleaner to go around the wool, because that gives it a nice, neat finish. And for this one here, I might just leave the arms exposed. So they are going to, there's so many ways, and in the book, Making Simple Needle Felts, there are different ways of how you can dress your figures up. For example, Mary here, she's actually got a completely different cover of her arms. It's yet another technique, and so does Joseph. So they have more of a sleeve that runs over their arm. But with the little fairies or dainty figures, we're keeping the arms really thin and even just maybe flesh colored, so as if they've got no sleeves. So I'm making that one a bit. Stay there. She's been on the gin. She's hanging out there. And covering this up a little bit more as well. And so I'm now going to put the arms onto the body. I'm leaving a little bit of white in the middle, so it's easier to wrap it around the base here. So because I've already got a face now, I've got to be extra careful making sure that the arms are in the right position. So they're just wrapped around the base, and once they're right, I just push them up, and then I use these excess bits of wool from the head to wrap around the top of the arms and the body to secure the arms even more. Yeah. And then do the other side as well, always making sure that the head is actually in the right position now, because as you pull the wool down, it will sort of slightly put it out of shape. So I'm just wrapping this around the body. And as you can see, the only needle felting on this particular one I have done is on the face, but actually you don't need to do very much needle felting on these little fairies, especially if you're using the flesh wool tops to go over the face. So I've got my creature here now, and now it's just a question of building up the wool around the body. And for this you can either still continue using the core wool. Again, we're using the Lanolin Rich core wool, so you don't waste your nice colors and you're just building up the body, and it's just a question of going around the body and making getting the shape going. So you can do this quite loosely because you can felt down, and so there I sort of imagine my mermaid sitting like that, and I'm just adding more and more bulk to the body to do this. Can't wait until it's summer. And I don't know, are there many people living at the sea? Because surely by then we must be able to go back to the seaside. And yeah, I was going to visit my family in Germany this year. I have no idea if that's going to happen. Going around the fin, I'm actually going around the whole of the pipe cleaner rather than individually wrapping the lengths, because I'm going to felt that down quite quickly. So what works quite nicely is if you've got a nice bulky wool bat, and the bats is what I'm using right now, you can build up bulk really fast, and then you can concentrate later on to add the fine detail over the top and use your nice wool, your colorful nice wool, to add the detail later on. And I'm just building up the layers now. This can be a really fast project, and I must remember all the exciting things that I was going to tell you. I'll work away while I'll tell you about them. Mind you, I have to pull some things out. So first of all, we are so close to getting our hugging bear hug kit out, and I just got to go a little bit bigger with this one. I'm so excited by this because they've been hugging for days now and don't want to let go. So the idea is that you needle felt a bear, and maybe you make a second bear to send off to a friend, or maybe you send a bear to your friend to make another bear. I even think you could make buy one for yourself, buy one for your friend, and then make the bears, and then swap bears. So you can let them hug, but each of them will actually have to hug a heart. So that will be part of the kit. But they're posable, and they're not actually that dissimilar in terms of wrapping wool around pipe cleaners as I'm demonstrating you here. So we're really, really, you can hug again. Nobody else is allowed to hug, but you're allowed to hug. Aren't they cute? I love them. So they can just sit here for the minute. Tomorrow is the first day of our new subscription boxes. So the fox will go and sleep somewhere else, but the fawn is going to come out. And tomorrow I will be opening the maker's box to show you what's inside it, so you can make this lovely fawn. And with it you will get some real reindeer lichen there as well, so you can make a lovely bed for the reindeer, no, not the reindeer, the fawn to sit on. And I will cover some really important techniques tomorrow on the fawn as well. And then tomorrow is also the day where the pansy flower fairy kit is coming out, and it changes. So we're posting the fairy flowers, the fairy boxes, I meant to say, or usually around I can't remember now, I think it's the 7th of each month, but as of tomorrow you can buy this. And it comes in a really lovely pink box. We're really pink with our fairies. It has got lots of accessories in there. You can make your own tiny little pansy flowers to decorate the fairy. And there will be little gemstones in there that you can decorate a dress with. They haven't arrived yet, but they will. And then you can either give her curly hair as a way how to make it, or she can have straight hair. I think they look both really lovely with either. And then tomorrow is also our new surprise box release, and that's themed sweet shop, I think. It's either sweet shop or something like that. But I will open up the boxes tomorrow, with the exception of the surprise box, because I can't give that away as that's a bit of a secret still. So, oh God, my phone's ringing. Sorry. Always something happening. And that's tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Open up the boxes, give you some really hands-on advice on how to make, for example, the legs for the phone. That's a new technique that we haven't introduced you to before. And yeah, so that's that. There might be something else. I can't remember now what I'm doing tomorrow. I never know what I'm doing the next hour. So that's exciting. Oh yes, and the other exciting thing is we've got 2 new sweetie jars filled with wool, 2 new themes, and I'm trying to remember that as well now. So one is called Sweet Dreams, and the other one is called, Sophie thought that one out, and it's called, I think it's called Gingerbread Fox. Yeah, well, when you see the jars, you know why they're called that. And that's our limited edition for April. So they're not going to be around for very long because we only ever release 10 of them. And what's the other news? Oh, yes. Okay. If you are not on Facebook, today is definitely the day to sign up to Facebook because we are so near to 6,000 likes and we so wanted to get this done before the lockdown finishes. I mean, if it came to a choice, I'd much rather the lockdown is finished now and we don't get 6,000K. But if we can do it within the next week, it would be absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm not saying the lockdown will be finished after that. There is hope, but I don't think it will be a complete on and off switch. So still, it would be amazing to get to 6,000 likes. And the other thing is that today is a very significant day for number of orders. If we get to a certain amount of numbers of orders today, it's like a benchmark. So if you are dithering and you don't know whether you should, if that's persuading you, then place an order today with us, and we would be very grateful because today is quite an important day for us to get to a certain threshold. And next month is in fact in June is our birthday, so we're heading full ahead to number 5, and there will be surprises awaiting for you as well there. So I've got as far as this with my mermaid. I'm not going to finish her, no doubt, but you can see that I haven't felt it on her body at all yet. But what you can do is put her in the shape that you want her to pose. That's definitely a good idea, especially when you're making a mermaid, because you need to get that nice sort of sitting shape where you can give her a bit more bulk around the bum, and then keep the that part really nice and shapely, so you don't build up too much bulk. And then just basically use your felting needle and shape it as you go along and add whatever nice color you want over the top. So I think I've pretty much covered all of it. I wanted to show you even more, but I think we've covered the basics of how to make the hanging fairies, which basically was like this, but then you didn't add the legs and you just add the bits over the top. I've shown you a type of hairstyle that you could be doing if you wanted to do something slightly different. So she's got little plaits, and we've mentioned that you could turn the basic shapes quite quickly into, so this is sort of the shape that could end up like that. It can end up like that. It can end up like no, not like that. Well, you can add the legs to this still, and then it can kind of end up like that, or like Joseph here, or like a little naughty gnome. So they all have got the legs added, but they all started out like this one here. And then you saw that I used the pipe cleaner, the length, and I even extended it to make the shape of a mermaid. But if you didn't extend it, you can make a smaller mermaid. Just leave the end of the pipe cleaner there and shape that into the fin shape. If you, instead of shaping it to a fin shape, if you keep it flat like a platform, then you can make a standing fairy or an angel. I haven't shown you this one here yet. There you can make an angel. It's got wool wings, this one here, but you can make the wings from other materials as well. But this one, it's actually a treetop fairy, and it's got a hollow inside, so she can sit on top of a Christmas tree. Because there's one thing that's for sure, and that is it's gonna be Christmas very, very soon, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. And the more exciting thing is that we're working on our advent calendars right now, and so they will be released in June. Yeah, we always have limited numbers, so don't wait too long for yours. Get your pennies saved up so you can get your advent calendar, because they're always hugely popular. So I think that's it from me today. I just want to see who else we've got here. I need to pin those wool bits onto. I will do that very quickly now. So I've got my sheet here. I'll just write out what we've used today. So I have used the South American merino tops in flesh pink. I have also used the New Zealand merino bats in flesh pink. I have used the Lanolin Rich core wool, and they're bats too. And for the hair, I've used the Manx Louten, if anybody's interested in that. Manx tops for hair. I've used I've definitely used some of that space dyed berries tops as well. And of course we are using our extra strong pipe cleaners, and I will just pin that to here, and then I post it on Facebook. So but there are so many different things that you can use. It's you probably got lots of stuff at home that you can use up. Just have a little play. Keep the faces, if you need to needle felt them, really delicate. It's always better to do less than too much, because it just can spoil it so much. But you might also just have to have a little play and work it out for yourself. I can't actually, I've used up all my Lanolin Rich, so I need to grab some in a minute. And then there is a little bit of Manx Louten that I've used. That will be here. There we go. That's a really lovely sort of natural color. I think it's really nice for hair. There will be a lot of this in the fawn books, by the way, because the fawn has got that color as a main top, and then there's the berries that I've used as well for the dress for that little girl, or the skirt I should say. And she has actually got a wool butt top, because I just quickly put that on her. But there are lots of ways of making the tops. So that's it for me for now. Imagine there's the Lanolin Rich here. I will pin that onto it, and I'll post this on Facebook and just show the basic shape that we have done. We've got lovely curls that you can get to add to your little creations. She has got we don't sell the beads, but I'm sure you have access to beads. Got little beads sewn on there. In fact, they're glued on to look like water drops, and then she's got a bead necklace around her neck, and so on it goes. Basically, I think I've said everything there is to be said now. Just check in that everybody is okay. I might have to scroll down a bit, because I don't think I've done that for a while. You could use you use doll material for the head? You could, but I think it's going to be really hard to get rid of that fabric and keep it really delicate, because it needs to sort of disappear. And I have thought about it, and even now I just sort of think, oh, it's a kind of, I don't know, you should try it and see what it looks like. I wasn't feeling too comfortable myself with mixing the two, but I definitely think it's worth a try. So you do it and show us, Diane. That would be amazing. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming doll making tutorials. Not something I've done before, so I'm a blank slate, ready to learn. Oh, that's amazing. I'm actually currently making a doll tutorial for the WI, And I'm really excited by it because I had to rummage in my house for bits that I have in the house. So I didn't use anything that you have to buy. So it's going to be a doll made from whatever you find in your house. And it's very exciting. That looks so cute, Steffi, almost a baby face with the eyes apart like that. Well, this is what I tried to say. So the further apart you put the eyes, the more of a sort of cute look you get. And it does look a bit like a baby face, actually. And then you can put some nice hair on her. Anything, just have a little play. It's just amazing. You'll work out your own style, and then you share it with us at Everyone a Maker on our Facebook page. We've also got a makers forum, so you can post your photos and your questions directly onto our website. If you're not into Facebook, we also got Instagram. It's at the makers, and remember, it's the double S's, for one for Steffi and one for Sophie. And just scrolling further down to the end because I'm it's raining in Takeley now. Okay, so rain everywhere. Sweetie Shop surprise box, that's the one for tomorrow, starting tomorrow. Oh my goodness, so Pamela actually confirmed that in Oregon it's 6:59. Well, it's obviously gone 7 o'clock now, so that is an early start. Mind you, I am an early riser and I go and work out, which I did this morning, so I'm feeling really quite pleased with myself, having done a bit of a CrossFit session and got that in there, so that was quite it was very, very tough as well. If any of you know Cindy, this is not a person, but this is a CrossFit workout. That's pretty much a variation of that I have done because I can't do pull-ups. We haven't got a pull-up bar at home, and even if we did, I can't do pull-ups. There you go. Sent an order in last night. Oh, thank you, Lynn. That's really kind. Yes. Wow, that last year went quick. I think we all want to write it off somehow. Yes, the quicker it goes. I saw a really funny, I don't know, it must have been on Facebook where somebody said we're just going to cancel to 2020. And I think a lot of people feel like that. Love the advent calendars. Thank you, Diane. Oh, yeah, I know we haven't even had summer yet. I know, but this is the thing. Once summer is over, we normally hit the ground running. And if you're not ready and don't get ready during the summer, you've had it, basically. So we are trying to be ahead of ourselves. Thank you, Steffi. See you tomorrow. Thank you, Diane. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for doing these tutorials, Steffi. It is so good to look forward to something I know is going to happen. Yes. Come rain or high water, I will be there. I live an hour's drive away from the work, so I have to get in the car, and I've not been stopped by the police yet, but I cannot work from home, definitely not, especially when you run your own business. That seems to be really, really difficult anyway. So I will be here, I promise you. And Alex, love today's done fairy doll, and now on to mermaid. Stay safe and see you tomorrow. Thank you again. See you tomorrow. That's from Roz. And I think you've said it all. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay sane, do a bit of stabbing, and tell your friends about us. If you can, introduce them to needle felting. We're still doing our needle felting gift kit, the Rainbow of Hope, and it comes with chocolates and tea and lavender. So you've got all the things to spoil yourself or a friend. And hopefully see you all tomorrow when I will be introducing our new subscription boxes. So until then, all the best from Steffi and everybody here, Fox and Fawn and Fairies. And we see you all tomorrow. Bye.